Good evening, everyone. So, I'm back for another late night stitching here in London. I hope you're well. So, it's close to 1 o'clock, 12:51, 12:51, 10 to 1 o'clock after midnight. So, this piece has been calling me all day long, so I'm coming back to it. So this piece is called Dry Flowers, and it's from Heaven and Earth Design. So let me just bring up the markup here. It's beautiful. Look at this. So I'm starting from upper left, going diagonally to the bottom right, and I'm going to show you, I'm tracking it with Pattern Keeper, like Garner's billions other stitches. And I'm starting from 0 stitches here. And let's see how far I can go today. So in the last session, I started from, I kind of ended around this area, which is here. And I've got a few stitches to go for this block. So let me just pop my tablet back on my stand there. And then I'll zoom in my view a little bit more. So last session, I ended here. And so I'm going to complete this block. So I'm trying to complete block by block in no particular order, but I'm keeping the general loose diagonal direction going this way. So I'm sure it makes sense to you if you've done this type of stitching before. And so I'm parking a lot, as you see. That this area is a little bit confetti rich, and it's challenging, but this method is quite a sort of orderly and clean way of sort of stitching quite confetti area. So I'm going block by block and then row by row. So I can't wait to get back to this piece. It's so beautiful. For some reason, it's just so suitable for me anyway. I think it's just so appropriate for late night stitching because it's so cozy, it's so warm, and quite a lot of colors going on. So let me move my view over there and maybe zoom in just tiny little bit here. So I'm going to start, try to complete this block here. So it's been a really busy day, and I find the busier I am during the day, the more I'm craving for a spot of stitching. So I don't know how it works for you. It's just my way to relax, to kind of closing the day sometimes. I mean, I stitch at different times of the day whenever I can, but for some reason, this is just such a wonderful way to relax in the evening. Let me just look at this one. So I'm kind of warming up. If you've seen me stitching, you probably realize by now my first few, oh my god, my nail. I just did my nail. Look at this. This is really not pretty, so bear with me. Because I try to put a couple of coatings on top. You have to deal with my ugly nail polish in this session, I'm afraid. So this is just the way it goes. Let me see if I can quickly put another coating. This is live nail polishing right here, okay? If girls, you can understand what is it like. The more coating you put on, the longer it takes to dry, and then you just bump. Your most clumsy moment is normally when you finish your nail polishing. You just bump into things for no reason. But there you go. There's an ugly nail there, right there. So it's real life. It's it's real life stitching, and it's just the way it is. And I'm gonna keep going. So this one is this thread is a little bit short, so I'm going to end it very soon, but for now, oh dear, look at this. So these are my warm-up stitches. It's like a session of yoga, you know. You have to warm up and ease in, and once you are warmed up, then things hopefully will flow a little bit more. But that's all part of the journey. In fact, the second stitch here, I'm going to end it because I just have a feeling it's gonna create problems for me, because I'm gonna just run out. It gets really short. Oh, there you go, happening already. So I'm gonna just snip off here to anchor the thread there. And by the way, drink of choice tonight, my usual peppermint tea. I just made it briefly before the stream. Let me have a sip. Oh, it's so soothing, really soothing. Now, let me quickly mark it before I forget. 1, 2. Let me see what's happening here. 1, 2. Right, okay, I know where I am now. I'd love to know what you're stitching right now. And by the way, I don't know whether I remember I mentioned it, but this is 25 counts. As you can see, I'm doing 10 stitches, so half stitches. This is one of the recent newly started pieces just this year. I'm experimenting with half stitches. I kind of didn't do it before for various reasons, but you know, very drawn to it since I started. I really enjoy the kind of the speed of it. I'm calling myself slow stitching yogi, but it's kind of nice to have such an easygoing way of stitching. I mean, full cross I do definitely enjoy as well. It's a kind of slightly different, you know, way of stitching. Obviously, you do 2 legs rather than 1. I think I probably messed up a little bit over here with the colors. I'm trying to fix it here, because last time when I get to this bit, I was a little bit sleepy, to be honest. And so I think 1, 2, the third one. Okay, so I think I was kind of go, oh, whatever, let me just you know, you can't tell the difference anyway. So I was stitching maybe in the wrong spot with a few stitches, a few colors here. But all will be good. All will be good. Let me just undo that. Let me just quickly mark it before I forget. And I'm going to take it down here. 1, 2, the second one from So right here, because let me just move it up so it doesn't get in the way. I always feel like a hairdresser when I do this. Maybe this way, it's better. This one's getting really short as well, so I'm going to cheat and do the remaining 2 stitches with this color. Cheating's allowed in my book whenever it's appropriate. So I should be doing row by row, but hey, I know. So oh no, that's fine. I was about to stitch the one below, but that's going a bit too far, I think. So I'm going to just end my thread here. Let me see if I can take some of these out of the way. I'll do that when I finish this block. It won't get in the way, hopefully. Six one zero. And let me show you my book here. So a lot of people curious about my thread organizer. So I've got one book like this. So these are just thread cards that I bind together. I've got one set for each type of floss rather than divided by projects. I used to do that and I just end up with so many sets. So I kind of combine all the same brand of floss together, or they're all compatible with a DMC, so I just organize them by number. And so this is a big book, the CXC floss. It's a lovely floss to stitch, and it's a big one. So normally I place my floss organizer on top of my canvas, and when I pull a thread, but this one is so big, as you can see, so I'm going to put it on the side. 610, and I'll definitely do one session that I'll show you how I kind of organize my floss. I think that for me as a stitcher is one of the most fascinating things as well about other stitchers. I'm always fascinated by how they organize their thread, and I'm learning from how they do it, because when your thread organizer is in order, I find that life is in order. It's almost like it's a reflection how you organize your stitching environment, and also your floss, your tools. It's kind of a reflection of your life to a certain extent, and your personality as well, for sure. It's one of the most fascinating elements of stitching, I think, for me. And another thing that's fascinating is how people start and end their thread as well. It's another another one of my fascination when I look around other floss tubers. Let me just part this one correctly before I mess it up. 1, 2, and this one over here. I know it looks a little bit messy, but there's an order to it. Organized chaos. And I'm going to start another thread here. 645. 645. I mean, it's always lovely when I get comments from people watching this channel. It's really, really new. I started probably maybe only a couple months ago. And I'm always surprised that people find it, because where do you start? I kind of set the whole thing up and just mostly to entertain myself to a certain way, but hoping that maybe other people enjoy watching it, because I really enjoy watching other people stitching. There's something so therapeutic about, just watching people going one stitch at a time with whatever method of their choice. It's just lovely. And maybe some people may enjoy watching me stitching as well. It's a community, isn't it? Good. So let me mark these ones. Such an earthy tone of, it's just a beautiful palette here. Let me see, let me divide this away. We've been having really, really lovely weather here, because London or UK in general, if you've been here at all, you realize rainy days is kind of the norm in typical kind of British weather. And so people really appreciate it when it's sunny outside, when you like genuine sunlight, not just daylight, because you can have daylight but not sunny at all. But it's been lovely and mild. My heating is off pretty much most of the time, which is quite nice. 844, but it's not uncommon that you have the really warm sort of day, and then by the evening, past 8 o'clock, it's almost changed. The season has changed, and suddenly you're happy to put your jacket on, your cardigan, whatever you're wearing, the outer layer, your jumper, and then it's chilly. So 844. Let me pick this thread here. So you really notice the seasons, you really notice the weather changes when you live in somewhere like the UK, London in general. And you really appreciate sunlight, which is quite an odd thing if you live in a sunny location all the time, countries or area of the world. And you probably try to run away from sunlight. But over here, as soon as the sun comes out, people just run toward the park or wherever they can have a lie down or sit down outdoor and just enjoy the sun. Not great for the skin probably, but doesn't happen that frequently. Not in this country. One over here, one there. I'm close to finishing this pretty tricky block, to be honest, because I messed up a few stitches, and then it probably takes more energy to try to correct it. And checking every part thread to make sure that they're parked in a correct location. There you go. But no problem. 3799. 3799. Another sip of the tea. 3799. I'm really in love with this piece. The more I stitch it, so just lovely. And also it's a mini version as well, because for a brief moment I was thinking, oh, I should have got the, oh, wrong block. I should have got the regular version, perhaps, because I love this piece so much. And then I thought, well, that's great, because first of all, it's charted so beautifully. You know, if you see the color changes and of this piece, you know, they haven't cut any corner because it's mini. I think it's, in some ways, probably even nicer because it gives it a kind of sketch-like kind of style to it, which is why I love it. And then another one, the bottom one is just the same color, easy peasy. And there you go. And two more here. That would be the completion of this block. Yay. I'm always so happy when I finish a block and have this nice clean line there. It means I've been very good, very disciplined, because it's very easy to want to start to stitch outside the box, which I do sometimes, as you can see here. Happens a lot. But sometimes it's a different kind of challenge to be a bit more disciplined. So which block shall I go then? What do you think? Shall I go for maybe the blue? Maybe this block over there, shall I? It's nice color changes. Yeah, let's do that. Move it over here so we can get to it. Beautiful. And it's nice to sort of have a different color groups. And before I do that, what I'm going to do is to lift this up and just tidy up the end threads there, because it's getting a little bit crazy down here. So I'm going to remove this all the end threads here. Just housekeeping. Before it gets too crazy, let me see, to make sure my camera doesn't go crazy. So this is not the most glamorous part of stitching, but it has to be done, particularly in such a confetti area. It does accumulate a lot of end threads here. And the thing is, if I do something like a pin stitch to end the thread, you create a lot of kind of pimpled area because you can see the kind of pin stitch there. And for some reason, I don't like it. I don't like the look of it. I like to stitch on sort of a clean fabric without having those little pin stitches poking everywhere. It's just a personal thing. And if you do this, there'll be some bits left over there, and I just take my needle and try to just tease the thread off the canvas, or as I stitch this block underneath, I'll just tuck all the thread that's poking out under the fabric, so it's not a problem. This block, normally you don't end up with so many end bits, but it happens sometimes. Just the nature of this method, this end thread method. So I'm gonna bring it down much better, and these bits poking out, they will get pushed down when I stitch this area, so they don't want to go down right now. It won't be a problem. Here we go. Now this beautiful blue color area. Let me just stabilize my stand there. I forgot to put a padding underneath. Normally I have to pad it slightly, otherwise it gets a little bit wobbly. Don't want wobbliness. Beautiful. Much better. And let me move up. So this area, oh, I see. So this block is actually half finished as well. So let me complete this block. So we're kind of going around completing blocks. Sometimes I would finish a block halfway and then forgot that I haven't finished a block and just move on to the next one. It happens a lot. So here we go, just one stitch here with this color. Here we go. And need to end the thread here. Three, 7, 6, 8. Sip up the tea. A light over here. There's one stitch above I haven't stitched. Let me just double check this color. It looks a bit too light. 160. Just checking for the right color. Oh, it does look okay. Now sometimes the color on Pattern Keeper, I know it's not supposed to be super precise, but most of the times you can kind of gauge whether your the color is correct. But with this one, it looks a bit different. So just double checking. 1, 2. Okay. Right. And particularly when you have an area that's got like kind of a shades of many colors, you have to be kind of careful. This one here. We call these tails. Let me clean it up. I'm actually going to end this one as well. A lot of end threads here as well. One, 6, 1. Catch these ones, because these ones was when I was ending my thread on the side, because you can always choose to either anchor the end thread downwards or on the side. So I was doing that when I was doing these blocks, and I changed my mind to start ending my thread downwards. So now it's kind of getting away a little bit, but I'm going to trim it off very soon, so no problem here. So I changed my method a lot. So a lot of pieces, you can see a lot of transitional parking, well, either from parking to no parking, or no parking to parking, or very often changing my starting and ending method. So it creates sometimes a little bit of a mini chaos like this. But that happens a lot for me. Particularly going from parking to a mini cross country. If I do that, then I just rush around trying to end all the threads, or the other way around. If I go from mini cross country to parking, then I have to start planting all these park threads. So it keeps me busy. And I envy those. Well, envy is probably not the right word. I'm kind of mesmerized by people who are sticking to pretty much the same way of stitching, like all the time. All the time. I don't know how that works. I don't know how you do that, because do you not get bored with one way of stitching? I get bored, and so I kind of change around, sometimes page by page, or even within the same area. I just go, well, I'm gonna stitch like this now, and I just start doing that. So that's why I said that stitching, the way you stitch is who you are. I think it's a reflection of your personality. And that's why it's so interesting to watch someone stitch, because you're having a little sneaky peek into the person's way of thinking, how they deal with, how they find solutions, and how they resolve problems. Because in a way, it's, the way you're stitching is your way to solve problems. Well, not the stitching's problem, but you know what I mean. It's your strategy to complete a piece. So I'm kind of looking at people who, for instance, if they stick with one piece at a time, particularly not samplers. I think sampler is probably easier to complete within a certain time frame. But if you are, let me just make sure I park in the right place. If you are stitching full coverage like this, and you choose to do it one piece at a time, I kind of see you as a you're probably good. Well, you probably enjoy meditation, I think. And even though I teach yoga, people tend to think that maybe I meant sort of meditate all day long. But I will confess that I find the more sort of sitting down meditation quite challenging for me. I find yoga in general for me is a form of moving meditation. So I'm going to end these, cut off these little threads here, because they're kind of getting in the way a little bit. I think they're okay. They're all stitched down now, so I can remove them very carefully. But I actually find meditation quite challenging. I can do yoga all day long, and I find it very calming to do. But if you want me to sit down, I don't mind if I go to a class and they do a little bit of meditation in the beginning of the class. I'm okay with that. But do I choose to actively meditate? I'll say no. It's just not my meditation of choice, I think, to sit down and, you know, in that format. I'd rather meditate with movement, if that makes sense. So I think it probably reflects the way I stitch as well, because to stay with one single piece or a single method or a certain fabric count. You know, some people only stitch 25 counts. Some people maybe, let me see, oops, I think I've got another thread at the bottom that I left over. A lot of people I follow on social media or YouTube, a lot of them kind of they have a certain preference to either method or fabric counts. I don't know, maybe they do that for their social media, or and then maybe they stitch different types of projects in private. I don't know, but I can only judge by what they show. Outward that I could see, and if that's anything to go by, then we all made differently. You know, I've got some fluff here. I'm going to just remove it with a piece of masking tape. I normally do this because there's fluff, sometimes my cat's hair. If I magically travel to my fabric. A sip of tea, so good. So I have to do the hair removal from time to time. I'm going to do one stitch here. And then I'm going to end this thread as well. It's going to get quite busy down here. Over here a little bit. So I've got 3 part there. Okay, just checking. Feels like Christmas when you have the same color a few stitches in a row, you can just keep stitching. Need a moment of happiness. Lovely. It's getting a bit short here. Only one stitch. This color, and I can end it. Put it down here. I'm going to put it down. 1, 2, and 3. Four, 5, 2. 4, 5, 2. It's already threaded. I'm trying to see if I can do a pin stitch in the middle. That's slightly bigger than pin stitch. So essentially, a lot of times, if I can't do a loop start, I just almost stitch over the same stitch twice to anchor it down. But sometimes the pin stitch is kind of tricky to do, but to be honest, you can't tell that I've stitched this purpley color twice. So that's my way of cheating. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. It's getting a little bit busy here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. No one can tell. And again, one stitch wonder into this thread here. quite a few. And threads there. 9:30. Another one. Still one stitch left. And if you look at the thumbnail, or the mock-up rather, if you look at the mock-up on the upper right there, you can see I'm stitching probably one of the most busy areas of the whole piece. So a lot of color changes. Let me see, got one space here. So all the dry flowers on the ceiling. Three 041. See my threading needle, my organizer. I think if you tackle areas like this, you know, with a lot of color changes, trying to show you, this is, sometimes this happens. My needle, I'm trying to see if you can focus on that. The camera doesn't like it. I want to show you because my needle, it's hard to tell, but it's actually slightly bent. Don't know whether you can see it. And yeah, sometimes I have to just throw away needles because it just, you can see it better here. It's very subtle, but when I hold it, I know it's slightly bent. There's a slight arch there. So once that happens, I just let it go because it's not very nice to use. I could feel it when I hold it. So I'm going to let that one rest in peace. So these are John James needles. They're really good. They're my favorites. And I buy DMC needles as well. I don't mind it. They're fine. But John James is my favorite. It just feels a little bit different in my hands. And I go through... Well, I don't throw away needles that frequently, luckily, but I do top up my needles quite frequently. I just buy them. It's much better to have spare needles than not. Because the way I organize my floss and my organizers, I have a lot of threaded needles on my organizers. So I leave them on different sets of organizers there. And yeah, it's very easy to run out of needles that way. I mean, technically you can stitch an entire piece with just one single needle. It's possible. And that's the beauty of it, you know. Depends on how you stitch. It varies a lot. Right, let me show you. Just zoom out a little bit. So my organizers here, I've got a lot of part threads with needles on top, and I've got about 3 or 4 sets like this. Let me just see if I can zoom out a little bit more. So a lot of needles are attached to my organizers, and when I get to stitch the 25 counts heaven and earth pieces, I'll show you another thing, because I part my threads with single strands a little bit different, so I'm looking forward to show that to you. It's my own hack. It works quite well so far, but I don't know whether anyone else does the same. It'll be very interesting to know. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. So part of the fun for me, kind of stitching this type of project, is kind of the setup, you know, what kind of stand do you use, what kind of frame. Oh, this is the last one at the bottom there. Let me see. I'm going to end it actually. You know, all these choices you make have impact on your stitching experience. And I'm having a lot of fun just looking for solutions. 318. And it's really wonderful when you discover a new way of doing it. And suddenly, you know, it's like, it just gives everything a new lease of life. It gives you motivation to keep going. Again, another one stitch and end situation. Okay. Okay, I don't mind it. I accept the challenge. Let me see. Last row, this block. And I'm going to park it down. One down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, right here. More over here. Parking down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here. So normally, when I anchor the end thread, I'll just go down about 10-ish stitches somewhere there. But when I get to the bottom of the block, obviously there's, you're not going to be able to tuck. The last couple of rows is a bit harder. So I'll take it one block below. So all these ones are from the bottom few rows. So just make sure it's all the end threads are stitched down properly. Right, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. And 2 more here. I'm going to end this thread to the block below. I kind of just naturally want to end my thread downwards. Like Royal Rolls, if you're familiar with it, you kind of want to take the end thread to the right, and for some reason it just doesn't work for me. I just find it very sort of not intuitive for me, so I can't do that method. And also you just you kind of take your floss, your thread over stitch area a lot. So if you stitch, because Royal Roll is color completion, so some people might do row by row, I'm not sure, but generally if you look at the person pioneer method, you're supposed to do color completion one color at a time, but the last few colors you could end up with one last stitch here, and then you have to take the thread over to the block, one block away to end the thread. It means you're taking the thread over the stitched area. That for me is a no-no. I can't do it. And also with color completion depends on the project. I think 1/1 is kind of okay. It doesn't feel too bad. Single strand, 1/1. But with something like this, it's actually, or either you do 10 stitches, or if you do like 14 counts, larger counts, it becomes really tight. The last few stitches within the block just not very enjoyable, not for me. So I tried it, I gave it a fair go, but my verdict is it's just one of the methods that doesn't really jive with me. So I have to let Royal Roll go. But I was really intrigued. So, I'm glad I tried it. 3, 8, 6, 1. 3, 8, 6, 1. But most methods I've tried so far, they all work in some way. I switch, you know, from time to time to other methods. If you see my other pieces, I sometimes do the Gemma stitches method. I really enjoy that as well. And I've also done sort of a strict row by row. I mean, maybe 2 blocks at a time or 1 block. Not loosely like I'm doing here, but strict 1 by 1. Kind of just 1 row at a time and moving down. I could do that for a little while, and it's very nice method if you're doing very confetti area. It's just such an orderly way of doing it, and the stitches come out beautifully because you're not jamming your needles everywhere, you know, because you probably tend to end up with a lot of boxed in stitches because there's so many color changes. So sometimes I switch methods just to accommodate the area I'm stitching. And if I have, you know, it doesn't happen really that often with Heaven and Earth designs, but sometimes you have a whole patch of the same color. Then, you know, if that happens, I'll just go wild. Sometimes I do block by block. Just fill it in, or I just flow with where the color goes because it's the same color. So it's all about strategies. 5 2 4 5 2 4 5 2 4. I just feel so much peace when I'm stitching. The same way with yoga, funny enough, is it just somewhere you can go that's you know you're just being you. You know, there's no one else you have to answer to. You're really just there doing what you want to do. And I'm going to part this one here. And not many things in life we get to have that kind of mental freedom as well. You know, day to day, it's full of things. It's full of things that I wouldn't say obligated to do. A lot of things we kind of choose. That there's some responsibilities we happily, you know, accept that's in our lives. Like if you know, looking after people or looking after pets. That's, you know, what we choose to do. We relish it, but still, it's a responsibility. But I find when I'm stitching, I'm really just here, you know, without overthinking, and just do things that, you know, I find pleasurable. Oh, it's completed. This block, beautiful. Half of the block, I have to say, but I'm glad I completed it. It's nice to see that beautiful straight line, the clean shape there. And where shall I go next? Let me see. Let me zoom out a little bit. I'm gonna go in no particular order, just go where I'm kind of attracted to. I think I've done a little bit of blue there. I could potentially do this block. It's a lot of beautiful burgundy and browns. And then after that, maybe move down here so I create that rough, really loose diagonal line. Let's do that. I'm going to tackle this block next. Get a hairbrush out. I think, let me just quickly draw a line here because It's getting a bit fadey. Okay, so these ones belong to the next block. Let me put it away. And let me zoom in a little bit more. How's that? Let me find it on my pattern keeper here. Good. Thinking. Let me start in order. 3721. Got one threaded already. See if I can get a pin stitch here rather than stitching it twice. I think it's easier to do on 25 counts to do the pin stitch with the gridded fabric, because it's a little bit stiffer, whereas this is nice and soft, which I love, but sometimes a little bit tricky when it comes to pin stitches. I managed, no problem there. That one's done here. And see how many color changes is happening here, but it's going to create such a beautiful image. I'm going to pocket down 1, 2, 3 from the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One down. You know, when I first started stitching 25 counts, I was terrified because I went from literally 14 counts to 25, and I can't remember which one. I think I can't remember which design I went for, because it was kind of a tryout project. So, you know, I just wanted to know that I could actually see the stitches, and I couldn't, because if you're used to looking at 14 counts, you're used to the kind of real estate and each stitch takes up, and I literally didn't know what I was stitching. I was thinking, oh, this is not working. I'm gonna go blind. I'm gonna literally just go blind. What am I doing here? And what I did was I was feeling very frustrated, and I felt defeated because I didn't enjoy what I was doing, because I couldn't find the stitches. They're so tiny, and it was the first time I did 1/1 as well, just one strand. So a lot of changes there. It was a big shock to my system. Let me just park it down. 2, 3, 4. And I go, so this is not for me. I pretty much thought that. but I left it for a couple of days. I was gutted. I thought, well, there must be a way. Must be a way. There are people doing it, you know. They're not all blind. I think they can still see, so why can't I? And I decided to kind of move up rather than going from 14 counts to 25 overnight, which probably wasn't a good idea. What I did was I decided to get a gridded fabric to start with. So the counting part of it was kind of done for me. One less thing to worry about. And then I got a few smaller pieces fabric of, I think it was maybe 20 counts. I thought, well, 25 counts, it's too small, but 20 counts I should be able to manage. So I kind of picked a really small project there, and I got a piece of 20 count fabric, plain without grid, because I thought, well, it should be okay for me to grid it myself, and it turned out to be okay. I was so glad. 20 counts I could manage, and then my eyes kind of started to get used to it. You know, you can train your eyes to kind of tune into the size of the stitches, and what they look like. You know, it's all about that visual recognition of what you're looking at. I just have a cup of tea, a sip, and then I enjoy that, and I got more confident. So, well, maybe I can move up to 22, and that's what I did. So I got another piece of fabric from Etsy, and I thought, let me do 22 then. And I can't tell you what a difference it made between 25 and 22. They felt like totally different stitching experience. 25, for some reason, 25 was kind of my limit for my eyes at that time. But 22 feels like, oh, there's a lot of room there. So I still have a few pieces, my earlier pieces, where I experimented with fabric counts. So I have a few pieces that's 20 full stitches. And I moved up from there. Once you're confident that your eyes can be trained to tune into what you're looking at, you know, I thought, well, maybe I can challenge 25 again. And it turned out to be perfectly fine. I mean, I still had to get used to it, but because I moved up quite gradually, you know, I kind of knew what I was looking for, you know, and also I was getting used to the stitching experience, because it feels very differently now. For instance, now I'm switching from 14 counts to 25 counts, you know, from project to project. Individually, they're very, very different stitching experience. The way the thread feels when you pull a needle through, and how far you pull your thread, very different. And it's so fun to switch around, because you feel like, you know, everything's new, brand new. And, you know, it keeps everything fresh that way, I think. So that's why I kind of wonder how some stitchers can actually just do it pretty much the same way all the time for large projects for eternity. I find it quite remarkable. One stitch over here in the corner. It's getting a bit short. It's a little hair there. Probably my cats. And I'm going to end this thread as well down here. And I'm really glad I didn't give up at that time, because I could have. I could totally have given up and go, well, this is just not for me. I don't want to be blind. So if there's a will, there's a way. Three, 1, 5. 3, 1, 5. But then once I discovered I could do 25 counts, man, it was a rabbit hole that I nosedived in, and I haven't been able to come out. Not really. I'm still in it. I'm just introducing different type of projects into that rabbit hole. There's something so attractive about 25 counts. I don't know why it's 25. It's a very heaven and earth thing, because I think traditionally they tend to be even numbers, 14, 16, 18, and then 20, 22. And for some reason, is there 24 counts? I'm not even sure. But for some reason, for this type of project, people just go for 25 counts. I'd love to know the origin of it, because it's interesting, isn't it? Oh, I do have one over here, so I planted this thread unnecessarily. Okay, let me end it then, because I do have one part on the right there. Didn't see it. So I'm going to end this one so I don't end up with duplicated colors. So 25 is kind of the go-to fabric count for heaven and earth. I know people stitch in different counts. The pattern you can stitch in any count you want. But I think majority of people are sticking with 25, 3, 1, 5. Let me pop my needle back. And I was quite surprised to find people YouTube videos talking about heaven and earth design, the patterns, and the videos are like 12, 13 years ago. I thought, wow, people have been doing this for this long. I had no idea. I really had no idea. I only discovered it like 2.5 years ago, something like that, during COVID, maybe 3 years ago. And didn't realize that people have been doing this type of stitching for so long. Feels like I've discovered another dimension of the universe that I didn't know existed. Okay, it's getting a little bit busy down here. Let me see if I can find my parking spot. 4 from the left. Top 1, 2. It's getting a little bit tricky. And 1 down. Should be able to find it there. Just about, just about. Needle bug? Oh, is it the needle bug? Oh my god. Hello. Lovely. Needlebug says, hi, the count of a fabric is determined by the manufacturer. For example, 25 counts is probably Lugana, which is manufactured by, I can't pronounce it. I recognize the word, but I won't attempt to pronounce it. I'll probably mess it up. I'll probably totally butcher it. Oh, wow. So it's determined by, but why would they suddenly go odd number? You know, if you're the needle bug I'm thinking about, I watch you, darling. I watch you. I've been watching you for quite a while. And, oh, what an honor. What an honor. Yes, because it kind of breaks the pattern, doesn't it? From even numbers to odd number out of sudden. So they produce that fabric count and people just kind of just go with that from the sound of it. Well, thanks for sharing that. Oh, I am that person. Oh my god, Needlebug is watching my stream. My goodness. I love your stitching. Really. Really lovely. And I learn from you as well. You've taught me many things, many things. What an honor. Thank you so much. And thank you for taking the trouble to explain to me. I'm a newbie, you see. So I'm sort of learning as I go along. Thank you so much. Oh, what a sweet lady. And I hope you enjoy my clumsy stitching. My excuse is that because it's a late night in London, so, you know, I normally stitch really well, let me just say that. Oh, I'm so happy. All my stitching heroes. And I remember watching your, maybe it's live stream. I can't remember whether I actually caught you live, or maybe the recorded, well, the archived session. And it's always really relaxing to watch. So thank you for your contribution. I really, really appreciate it. I mean, I wouldn't know what to do without these people, you know, these veterans teaching me how to do these things. I literally would not know what to do. The magic of internet, isn't it? 612, I'm gonna put it back. Yes, Needleback says, you really can use my any count, always happy to help. Thank you so much. I know you are. I know you are. That's why you have many fans, me included. Yeah, there's so many things that I kind of have to learn, and a lot of things I kind of just do without thinking why that is. And the fabric count is probably one of those things. For some reason, people just go with 25 counts, and I go 25 counts. And I'm assuming there must be 24 counts as well, even though I never tried it. I never seen anybody using it. But 22 and 20, they're fairly common, I think. And there's just one stitch here as well. So I'm gonna tuck it down here. Try to keep things in order as much as I can. And I was talking about, let me just remove this one. I was talking about, I was kind of amazed by this videos made, you know, a decade ago, more than a decade ago. The people were already doing this type of stitching. Because I mentioned in the last session, I think this type of chart has to be done with the computer software. So I couldn't imagine there were people just manually, you know, charting projects like this. So it's a modern invention, it must be. And so Needlebark says, I do have a question for you. I saw in the previous video of a glimpse of your thread organizer. Would you talk about, please, if you don't mind? Yes, of course. So this is an interesting topic. And I kind of showed a little bit earlier on. I'm happy to show it again. So, because thread organizers is one of my passion as well, because I've seen so many people with different ideas, so I can quickly show you Needlebark, anything for you, my darling. So I'm going to just quickly show this bit. Maybe it's easier if I actually move my canvas away for a few moments. So I hope my desk is nice and clean. If not, bear with me. So this is my thread organizer. So I have to mention a few people here. So here's my thread organizer. Let me just show it to you. So some of you might recognize this because in my last session or session before, someone mentioned it. They kind of recognize the trademarks or immediately with this bag situation. And I'll explain. Needlebark, I'm sure you're very informed. I don't know whether you're aware of the lady called Stitching Masterpieces, I think. If not, definitely look her up. So these thread cards, originally, you can see there's a puncture hole here, all of them. So what I did originally, my own hack was to, I print out, because I'm a designer as well by, you know, in my many lifetimes before. So digital design is kind of my thing. So I kind of designed with the software, graphic software, with cards that I could print out. And I kind of measured it so they're reasonably even, you know, I credit to the computer software. And I create a template. I'll probably share at some point, maybe it's useful for people. So, but you do need a printer. So you print it out and then you punch. You could do it manually if it's just maybe not as even. It's nice to have a guide. So I print out these, I use cardboard. And then what I did was I wanted to be able to part my needles somewhere. And being a lateral thinker, that's why I admire Stitching Masterpieces. She kind of thinks a very similar way as me. So as I printed out these cards, I stick a piece of felt. It's really ugly, I have to tell you. Some of them are better than others. As you can see, there's some failed print out there. I just turn the card around and print the other way. So once they're printed out, I create punches with obviously you know, isn't it, well, one of these puncher ones. I use quite large ones. I don't know, it's the 1 centimeter ones, and then I punch them out. A little bit of a work there, and then I just take a piece of felt and just stick the felt on top of it and fold it over. I use a fabric glue, and once I've done that, so you probably can see there's some masking tape on top of it, and I'll explain why that is. Because originally they were nicely printed out, and I was using symbols. I'm a very visual person. I look for symbols, so even the symbols were on the computer program. Okay, I scanned them, and so they were nicely laid out, and also with a number on the side as well. And then somewhere along the line, I decided to consolidate all the threads together based on numbers. So I had to kind of abandon the symbols altogether. So in order to avoid having to print out a whole set of cards, I just put a layer of masking tape on top of it. As long as it works, if it's fine for me. I'm the only person using it. You know, it doesn't have to be super pretty. So I did that, and then write the numbers on top of it. And originally, so this is where Stitching Masterpiece came in, pieces came in. Originally, what I did was, without this back thing at the bottom, I just stacked them together with a floss dangling downwards like this, just like this. And then I use a big metal ring and then just bind them together. And once it's there, I flip my cards to the left, like this, like a book. And it works. It worked for a long time, and it still works, to be honest. But my issue was the floss underneath. They start to get a little bit dusty, particularly when if you leave out a project for a little while. They start to get a little bit unruly here, because I never thought about finding a way to protect it. Sometimes I tuck them into a duffel bag or something like that. But still, if day to day they get a bit dusty, and they get, maybe a little bit frayed because, they're being exposed outside. Until very recently, sometime earlier this year, I discover masterpieces, Stitching Masterpieces. Definitely look her up. I think she's from Russia. Lovely lady. And she's got this whole organizer situation going on there. I was so fascinated. She's doing it differently. Her design is a lot more compact. She can pack in the entire set of floss without being this bulky, because I'm just hacking my old system and transition into new ones. But I wanted to introduce this bit that she kind of pioneered. She came up with the idea. I thought, what a great idea, because it's so simple. If you want to protect something, you just put a bag over it, some sort of a cover over it. It's a no-brainer, but for some reason, it never occurred to me. So what happens here is I kind of group them, because there's so many cards. I divided them into 2 bags, and she used these clippers as well. I think she used larger ones. So you can see these are actually 2. Let me flip it over. It's very ugly, but it works. I use masking tape just to roll the bags. So what I do was, without taking them off, I cut the bottom off as well. So it's slightly different from hers. I think she keeps the bag intact. But what I did was I cut the bottom half. So literally it's like a covered tube over these the floss here. So occasionally I can just remove the masking tape here, and then just go in and tidy up all my floss like a kitten. I'll just go in, and then, because the bottom of the bags, they're open, and I just go in and tidy it up. And I actually did so just a couple of days ago, because as you pull the thread out, so what you do, I think a lot of people use different systems. and you just tease the lacerie out. I know some people probably put lacerie in the other way. I prefer to tease from this bit, so that's what I do. And that's it. It's such a, and I use two big rings. These are flexible kind of metal things that you could extend it. You can make them small or big. And so you can, I got them from Amazon, and just create a slightly bigger ring here. It's quite soft as well, so it's better than those stiff ones. That's kind of fixed in size. This I can increase or decrease the size of the ring and just hook them over. It works. It's working really well, Needlebug. So I can't recall your system there. Maybe you were doing. Maybe I've seen a couple of videos of yours that we're talking about sort of your organizers, but it was a while ago, so forgive me. But yeah, so I've kind of hacked my way through to make it work, to have the benefit of the protection there. So when I use my thread, so if for a smaller set for other projects, very often I just pop it on top of my stand and just tease this rail. But this is so big, so I have it on the side. But normally what I do is just I go through the number. I roughly know where it is. I flip them through, find the floss, and just tease it out. That's it. Really simple. So Needlebug says, I really like the idea. I've been using similar cards, but hate how thread gets tangled. Rather ratty. So thank you so much for sharing. Anything for your Needlebugs. I have nothing to teach you, really. But I do experiment a lot. That's true. You can tell I spend a lot of time trying to design a card that works. And I'm forever changing till I find something that really sticks. Absolutely. Like, absolutely. That's part of the fun, isn't it? It's like, just when you think you have the system going, that works really well. Let me just put these clippers back. And someone else comes along with a great idea, and you feel like the whole world's changed. So, so there you go. That's my system. I hope that helps. And I'll probably clip this bit out as a separate video. I think a lot of people have been quite curious about the organizer. So thank you so much for mentioning it, and gives me the motivation to actually do a proper explanation. So it's a, basically an end product based on a lot of, veterans' idea, and I kind of just try to make it work for me. Oh, Karen, yes, Needlebug. Yes, Karen. Nice to meet you. I'm Francesca, by the way. So, and so there you go. That's my needle system. And yeah, I think any modification I can make, to make my stitching experience better, I'm happy to do it. It's just so much fun as well. So I hope that helped. And as I said, I transitioned from numbers to from symbols to numbers, which is kind of a big change, because I love those symbols. They're so much fun. Thank you too, Karen. Oh, how exciting, meeting one of my heroes. Now I have to remember where I was. Yes, over here. Needlebug says it's all about finding the joy and enjoying the journey. Absolutely, because why else do we do it? It's not a job. We have jobs already. So this is all about enjoyment. And that's why I'm not very goal orientated when it comes to stitching. You know, I'm happy to just go in whatever pace that takes me and not to get stressed about, oh dear, I have to stitch a little bit faster because someone is doing 1,000 stitches an hour. Are you sure they're not speeding the video up? Of course they're not. I've seen people stitching live. That's very, very fast. Like Komari, a Japanese lady I mentioned on the other stream, she's super fast. And she actually managed to finish at least one max color supersize piece very recently. So I don't know how she does that. And I'm not trying to emulate that. Some things you just have to recognize that it's not me, okay? And I'm okay with that. So whatever pace, but it's always good to be efficient, isn't it? It's really nice to be able to do things efficiently and changing the setup. It's all part of the fun. Let me see. If you're not stitching for joy, why are you stitching, right? So I don't have goals. You know, some people might go, I want to finish this piece or whatever percentage of this piece by this time. I absolutely have no goals set. As you can see, I'm kind of wandering around different pieces on a daily basis. If one piece is calling me, and I always know, you always know when one is, a particular piece is talking to you, and then I just go to that piece. I have no strategy, no plans, and that's it. I'm so happy to see Needlebug on my stream and make my day, make my night. Three seven two two. 3722 3722. And my massive tray organizer there. Yeah, I haven't visited Needlebug for a little while. Need to go back. And another one. 1, 2. And definitely look up the lady I was talking about who came up with the organized idea. Stitching masterpieces. She mostly does cross country, not long distance, longish distances. I think she designs charts as well. I think she's a chart designer, and she's got some really large pieces. I'm glad I could bring you joy, Needlebug. Yes, you have. I mean, when we're doing something that's passionate, just by doing it, sometimes, you know, you bring joy to others. You definitely have, for sure. Because that's pure joy, isn't it? You're not there trying to be an educator or anything, but you're just sharing what you do in a most authentic kind of way. Oh, so Needlebug is, you're aware of her, or shall I say Karen? I feel I feel yes, Karen. I'll try to get used to it. Yes, I watch her as well, and she's got this. I don't know where she lives. She must live in a sort of quite a nice and quiet countryside, because she's always stitching in a really beautiful like garden, or I think the other day I saw her on a beach somewhere lounging. So that's quite nice. I'm just stitching here in my well, I call it work room, but it's just a spare room with computer and you know, stuff in it, my craft stuff in it. But I do have a window. I can overlook my very small patio, my London patio. But obviously this is really late at night. It's pitch black. But I find a lot of parallel between stitching and yoga, because a lot of times people think yoga, if you look at Instagram, YouTube, is all about doing yoga on beautiful occasions in the forest and some sort of beach, you know, by having a permanent holiday. But yoga for me is actually creating that space in the mind, that beautiful space in the mind. Doesn't matter where you are. You could be in, I don't know, a prison cell. You can find that space inside right now. That beautiful place is always available. You don't need to rely on external space, because that's conditional, isn't it? What if you never have a house by the beach or in the forest? Does that mean you don't enjoy your life? Of course not. Or you don't enjoy your yoga? Of course not. So I think sometimes the sort of mass, well, not media as such, but sort of marketing, you know, trying to sell yoga as something that's almost luxurious to do. You know, something that you need to have a lot of cushions around, or you know, beautiful sunlight. It's actually quite the opposite. It's finding that space that's permanently available wherever you are. And what a joy to have that, to knowing that it's always there. You know, If you know that space is always there, you feel safe. You know you're okay. And no one can take that away from you. And I find the same thing with stitching as well. It's not about having a kind of fancy setup. I don't need, like, you know, I've seen people have really lovely kind of craft room with everything laid out beautifully. That's not my room. My room, there's some, you know, I have it's a nice room, but it's chaotic sometimes with all my stitching stuff. And yeah, but this is my space. This is my space. And I find peace here. So 3, 5, 6. Let me park it back. 3, 5, 6. Back. Right. Parking this one as well. Run out of space. Some stacking. It's right here. And if you wonder why this nail is looking so ugly, basically I tried to put some nail varnish on just before the stream, and lo and behold, it's not quite dry, so yeah, you know what happens. I smudged it, so it's getting yeah, a little bit messy, so forgive me. Embrace my ugly nail polish. Let me see. Oh, it's one part thread already. How peculiar. Why would I have one part one as well? Unless, let me see. Let me sort this mystery out. I must have part this one incorrectly. Let me just move it up. It happens a lot with 25 counts for me, particularly with parking, because you can't see what's underneath sometimes with all the parts thread. So you park one stitch off. There you go. Right. So I've got where's the shade? I've got one part already. Typical. Okay. Duplicated color there. Get down. Three, 7, 2, 2. Oh, you know what? No, I just remembered. I think I may have, I'm trying to remember, I may have learned of the existence of markup RXP from Needlebug, come to think of it. Because I remember watching, I don't know whether you're still watching, Karen, but I remember you demonstrated the app. Yes, I think I learned it from you because I thought everybody was using Pattern Keeper, and at that time I was thinking, well, I'm an Apple person. I wanted something for my iPad. And I remember watching one of your streams that you demonstrated the app. Yes, I think that was it. And so that's how I discovered Markup RXP, even though eventually I did buy a Android tablet just for Pattern Keeper, but I was aware that Markup RXP exists, so I had that option, and now I have a copy as well. I have a subscription. I use it for my print projects, for print patterns. It's quite powerful if you have those legacy patterns in paper. You can just scan the papers and it can quite accurately pick up the symbols. Oh, Needlebug, yes. Needlebug says, yes, I did demo markup. Yes, I remember watching those. I watched for ages. However, now I have to change it to Cross Stitch Saga. Oh, so yes, Cross Stitch Saga, I looked into it as well. Oh, yes, that was from Stitching Masterpiece. I think it's a Russian made app as well, but I couldn't figure it out because the interface, it looks so complicated, just grid. But I think the powerful thing is you're able to kind of define an area and just stitch within the area. Cross Stitch Saga, I looked into it, but I couldn't try it because you have to subscribe, you have to buy before you can even try. If I remember correctly. If not, I'm sorry, but I think that's why I didn't at least try it out. There's no trial version, if I remember correctly. I looked into it because I saw it being used, and I thought, well, it would be quite nice if you do sort of a cross country per page or per area. And the great thing about that app is that it calculates within the defined area the number of stitches for each color. So you could technically go from one stitch within that area of a particular color to maximum, or the other way around, depends on how you stitch. And the great thing about that is that you're not going to end up with unstitched area, sort of floating through everywhere. If you start from, let's say, within this page, one color only has 3 stitches, you finish those and start to move up the number of stitches following the colors, because Pattern Keeper doesn't give you that information. Pattern Keeper does not really have the concept of pages. It does give you that definition, give you the lines, but in terms of calculations for the thread, the stitches, it's pretty much based on the entire piece. So you can't just go into a page and look into the calculation. So Karen says, Needleback says, yes, unfortunately you do need to buy it, but it's once and it's free. It's like Pattern Keeper markup combined plus more. Oh, really? I love using that box area. Yes, I was really fascinated by the box area because that's a functionality Pattern Keeper doesn't have. And also, I mean, technically you could do one page at a time with markup RXP, but you have to go for one page. And also, because I scan the print version, the counts is not always that accurate. Sometimes you have to manually pick up certain colors. The system doesn't always pick up perfectly, so that's that. Yes, please do a video. I'd love to, because I saw a video that it was done by Master. I'm struggling with the name. Stitching Masterpieces, that lovely lady. But there's some parts I didn't quite understand. So yes, please do. Yes, please do, Needleback. I officially request as a viewer, please do one, because I think if there's another great stitching app for people, and people need to know about it. And I think this app, I don't think is that well known at all. I only found out very recently through Stitching Masterpieces. I've never seen anyone else mentioning it. Maybe because it's a Russian-based app. Maybe that's the downside. Oh, you made me want to get a copy now because I was so tempting. I was so tempting to do it, but I was just reluctant to buy it before I even get to try, because all the other apps, you can have a trial period, right? Yes, please do a video. That will help me a lot, please. Yeah, I'm really glad you've tried it. I was so curious about that app because it looks quite intimidating. Because Pattern Keeper is very visually very friendly. You know, images are nice and big. You can zoom in and out. You look at the symbols, but it's a bit more intimidating looking, at least, with Stitching Saga. Yes, I would definitely looking forward to a demonstration. But I think it's probably something, I don't know. I'm not a developer, so it's probably something the patent keeper can look into. I know they probably have a few bigger fish to fry, but it's something that, they can incorporate into their current functionality. 310. One of the sort of downside of markup RXP, I find, is the parking, because parking is very convoluted. So Needlebug says, absolutely, I will do. There are people that don't want to do it because it's Russian. Why? Oh God, how silly. Note, it has been taken down. What? In the Play Store, but it's in the App Store for iPad. Oh, I see. I saw it, so I didn't realize it was taken down. Oh, so silly. Just, keep the politics out. And also, just because, the decisions of government, what does that to do with developers of a stitching app, for God's sake? Seriously. People stop being silly, really. That is so unnecessary. And you will also need an app cross stitch paradise to convert. Oh, now I remember. Maybe that was one of the things I kind of go, I have no idea what they're talking about. I think maybe I saw that on the demo of the lovely lady from Stitching Masterpieces. Something about conversion. It doesn't recognize PDFs. Yes, now I remember now. Is it quite convoluted to do, I wonder? Because if it's not straightforward, people are not going to go for it unless you're really determined. So, yes, I wonder, yeah, I don't know, because PDF is one of the most recognized digital document format. I don't know, if they want people to kind of start using it, because there's a worldwide market. People will look away from, people don't care where the app is from, not from the users. So yeah, that's all silliness. But I'm sure people will be happy to use it. I would. 310. Yes, it would be great if you demonstrate how to convert it as well. I can probably work my brain around that. Because if it's shown in a simple way, people would feel more comfortable about it. Yes, I remember this file conversion as well. That would be such a useful demonstration, I think, Karen. And it's good to have competition as well. I'm really happy the Pattern Keeper is doing really well. And I think Markup RXP is gaining momentum there. And that's wonderful. But I think healthy competition makes everybody want to improve their product. Now, if you do go that route, message me. I can help you with Paradise. Oh, I see. I think the demonstration for the file conversion will probably, probably just as important as the product demo itself, because I can totally see that as a kind of a mental block for people to go for the app. And if someone's creating a really good stitching app, it should be enjoyed by people. They should be rewarded with users. Needleback says it's really rather easy, and Saga does have a learning curve, but once you get the basics, it's fabulous. I'm glad to hear that. Cause the lady from Stitching Masterpiece, I think she only that's her app of choice. And you know, she wouldn't use something that's difficult to use. You know, she wouldn't use it just because it's Russian. It must be, and I've seen the demo. I can see the benefit of that, but I wasn't aware of all the other methods and sort of functionality, so to speak. And because she doesn't park, I've never seen her using the parking feature, so I wasn't too sure whether that'll be parking friendly, because I can't park so much, as you can see, as I demonstrate here. So so the ease of parking is kind of a thing for me, at least. And that's the kind of downside for Markup RXP. I kind of mentioned it briefly the other session, that, you know, it's not easy to park. It's not with parking in mind, I think. It's quite laborious to do. And I hope they can improve that. I would have thought it was kind of a quick win function for them to do, but it's been maybe over 2 years since I know the app. There's no improvement there, unfortunately. Needleback, she says, I will never go back. Wow. That makes me really curious now. Really curious if it's got functionality of all the other, well, of Pattern Keeper and Markup RXP combined, is going to be a very good app. But visually, I think is a bit more intimidating, would you say, Karen? It's because all I saw, unless she was using a different mode, all I saw was grid. Because the nice thing about Pattern Keeper is it looks so friendly. You know, you can relate to it. It looks just like a chart, but, you know, on a tablet or digital device. But the stitching cross stitch Saga looks a bit more technical, if that's the word. But I'm sure once you start using it, you probably feel very differently. I can imagine that. So I'm looking forward to the demo there. When there's competition, you know, they have more motivate. Well, I think the developers have more motivation to improve because they want to retain their customers. And particularly for subscription services, something like Markup RXP, you know, in theory, you are charging people for constant improvement, isn't it? Because a one-off app, you have what? Less obligation, because it's a one-off price. People see the value of the app, they buy it. But if it's a subscription, you're paying for that added value of improvement. You know, so all the upgrades are free. You don't have to buy another new version. So I think if you are charging people subscription fee, you're more obligated to improve. So here I am whispering to Markup RXP for improvement of the parking experience. It's not great right now. So, but it does have a very powerful pattern recognition function built in, much better than Pattern Keeper. Pattern Keeper has a kind of experimental pattern recognizing feature there. You can technically scan in paper patterns, and I tried that. It wasn't fun. Let me just say it that way. I'm glad they try, but I don't think it's a fully functioning feature. I don't think, not the way it is right now. So I don't know what they have in the pipeline. I heard about backstitching functionality, but to be honest, you know, it's nice to have that, but is it critical for an app like that? If they think about their clientele, their their target users, because backstitching, yes, I do have a couple of pieces of full coverage. It's got backstitching, but if you're doing heaven and earth, I don't think they have any backstitching going on there. But if you're more of a sampler type of or or you tend to stitch smaller pieces, do you really need something like Pattern Keeper? Is it critical? That's what I'm saying. It's nice to have, but is it critical to have something like Pattern Keeper? I think if they're, I don't know whether they're looking to their core users there. I think majority of people are doing quite large pieces like this from, heaven and earth or similar kind of chart providers. I wouldn't say backstitching is critical. It's nice to have if they have everything else. They can add on top. It's nice. But I think they need to probably, I don't know. I think people are used to, oh, can you do that now with Pattern Keeper? So Needlebark says, yes, you can have it detect backstitch. Are you referring to Cross Stitch Saga, or are you saying that you can do that now with Pattern Keeper now? I'm not aware of it. I haven't put in any pattern that's got backstitching function there. If it's already there, then that's very nice. But I do question whether it's critical. I think for a good product, a good app is that you cover the fundamental really, really well before you extend it to something fancier. You go from the critical functions. So you secure your users there. A23. And I think Pattern Keeper has done pretty well in terms of the fundamental, but I have to mention, I don't know whether you feel the same, but, oh, so you're referring to Saga. Okay. So it does everything. How clever. Okay, I definitely need to look into that. But I think, I don't know whether you noticed that, Karen, everyone, it's when you first, just recall, cast your mind back to the first time you use Pattern Keeper or Markup RXP. They kind of work very similarly that way. The first time I used Pattern Keeper, for the first probably, I don't know, first month, I was struggling because you have to tap on, let me just pull it out here just in case you don't know what I'm talking about. Let me zoom out a little bit. Let me remove that. Okay, here. So in order to switch from zooming, like now I can zoom in and out, right? It's something really intuitive to do. You to go from here to marking, you have to tap. You switch to a different mode in order to mark your stitches like this, right? And the middle tab I almost don't use because I don't, for search, there's a nice shortcut that you can have. You can just tap on the color, double tap. So that's very, very nice. This is, you know, credit to the developers. You know, they know what they're doing. So there's a shortcut function. But the fact that you have to because if you think about how we use tablets, you know, if it's a picture, we pinch and zoom, we don't think about it. If we want to draw a line, we just draw. But for some reason, for the app, you have to switch, constant switching modes from edit to make it editable versus moving the canvas, the chart. And I found that so difficult to get used to, because the whole point of this type of devices, you just do whatever you want and it flows with human intuition. Whereas for some reason, I think it's maybe technical restriction there. I don't know whether it's Android specific. Oh, so my God, it made me want to rush to the App Store and buy it right now. So you can just intuitively pinch and zoom and mark at the same time. Oop, wrong one. With Cross Stitch Saga. My God, you should be the marketing representative of Stitching Saga. Right. So Saga does French knots, backstitch, half stitches, and cross stitches. And in Saga, you don't need to switch mode. That's the thing, because I was thinking, why would it do it this way with, you know, with Pattern Keeper? I was thinking, because I literally bought an Android tablet, which I never had before. I'm an Apple user. I bought Android tablet, Amazon tablet for the app. So I was thinking maybe it's just the device itself doesn't allow you to do that. I can't get my head around, because it's such an intuitive thing. How we use the digital devices, but same thing happened with Markup XP, RXP. I don't know why, because an iPad is designed for gestures, you know, for different direction, pinch and zoom, two fingers, you can tap. I don't know why they still doing very similar things to Pattern Keeper. It's a mystery. It's a mystery. So I don't know whether because they want to follow the same convention of Pattern Keeper, so it's easier to absorb Pattern Keeper users. But then again, you know, why absorb something that's, I wouldn't say it's a flaw, but from usability, it is a flaw. You know, and I can't understand why they can't kind of fix that. It's not, it shouldn't be a hard one to fix. I'm not a developer, so I don't know. So Karen says, that's good you have an Android, because you will need that for Paradise. Really? So you can't do that on iOS devices? On Paradise. Well, I would love to have a word with those developers there, because the file format will probably create sort of resistance of people switching, because, you know, the fact you have to get used to learn the app itself in order to convert, you know, even just import charts, you have to convert. Oh, that's interesting. So you can only do the conversion in an Android. Android. They don't make it easy, do they, Karen? They don't. Just in case our lives are not complicated enough, they just, well, let me just make it a little bit more complicated. Oh dear. Okay. Okay. So I'm glad I have an Android tablet already, so it won't be a problem for me, but for people who, well, I suppose if you already have a pattern keeper, then you have Android tablet of, well, device of some sort. So that's fine. But if you're iOS users, you're doomed. Yeah. Time to do another purchase. Oh, yeah, so Paradise is different developers. Yeah, I kind of gathered that, but it's just the fact that the Saga developers have not found a solution to import something a bit more universal that's already out there. And particularly considering how big, how broad, how popular Heaven and Earth design is, there is a big market there for them. If they could, if Saga's developers could make to improve that import functionality, then it would be a strong contender as a competitor. And it's good to have competitions. It benefits the users, isn't it? So another question for you, Karen, is the fact that once you convert it, is there any glitches that you noticed, or is it totally seamless? So let's say if you use Paradise to convert it, and it will basically get imported into Saga with no problem. So that's my question. Because sometimes conversions can create problems. One, two, three here. Right, I'm going to end it over here. It's getting a little bit busy underneath there. But there's an order in my chaos there. One, two, three. Let me see. One, two, three. And then three down. So I'll definitely look into the Saga, but I'd love to watch the demonstration from Karen first. It's just a peace of mind, isn't it? 823. It's beautiful blue. Oh, Needlebug says seamless. It gets saved in Saga format, and you just find the conversion on your device on top of it. Till it open Saga, and then there it is. Lovely. Now you do need to save the conversion. Oh my God, to Dropbox. What does that mean? So you have to convert it. Oh my God. So you need Saga, you need Paradise, and then you need a Dropbox. So you can't save it anywhere that's local. So you can get it to your iPad. Oh, I see. So you need a cloud storage to transfer the file. I get it. So you can use Google Drive, which is free. Everybody's got a Google account. You don't necessarily need Dropbox, I guess, because Dropbox, yeah, it's a free version, but I think mine's a paid version because I've got tons of stuff there. I see. Yes, Dropbox, you can get a free account, but everybody's got a Gmail somewhere. They can just use the Google. So, okay, so that's not a problem. So you transfer the conversion that you save from Paradise. It's like a technical tutorial there here, seminar. Yes, any cloud service. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense now. Yeah, it makes sense because you have to save it somewhere. But I suppose if you get Paradise on an Android device and then your Saga is also on Android, you can just save it within the device. You probably don't need, but it's probably a good idea to save it somewhere that's backed up on a cloud anyway. But I think technically, unless you're transferring to iPad, I'll probably get an iPad version actually, because I don't want to kind of rely on my Android too much. And I'm also waiting. I'm not holding my breath, but I'm hoping the Pattern Keeper will come up with an iOS version at some point, because that would be nice. Because iPad is just more powerful, isn't it? So one here. Right. I see. And it's intriguing that why Pattern Keeper started off as an Android app. Is it, I don't know whether it's just easier to push out an app, because I would have thought majority, well, I don't know the ratio to be honest, and also I'm biased because I'm a Apple user. Oh, let me tease this out. I've got one thread here, didn't see it, one end thread there tucked away. I would have thought there's a bigger market. I could be wrong. Maybe there are more Android users, but if I was a developer, I'd probably start with an iOS version. Because I've seen online kind of questions on forums, people kind of scrambling around trying to find out what Android tablets to buy. And I had no idea either, because I never really use Android devices. And I had to do a research, and I saw another video, maybe a lady demonstrating what tablets are compatible. And I still got, not a wrong one, but not the best one, probably. I got a Amazon Fire, because I thought Android is Android. I didn't know there are different types of Android device. So this one, I have to do a little hack in order to download Google Play apps. It's a long story, but yeah, it just shows the hurdles we have to jump through in order to have an app. So Karen says you cannot get Android version. Oh, so Saga is an iPad version. I can't remember which device I looked up the app for. I was under an impression that it would work on Android as well. Okay, so if it's iOS exclusive, then that makes sense. And Paradise is actually an Android app. Oh dear. Okay. Right. So you do need both. And there's no online conversion like web-based. People could do it, I guess. So Pattern Keeper will probably never be iOS because of the hoops Apple has them jump through. I wonder what that is. Yes. Maybe that's why they probably opted for a slightly easier route. So I don't know what sort of guidelines Apple has. And if I recall correctly, they kind of take a bigger cut as well because it's such a powerful market platform there. Yeah, I guess the trade-off, you're paying more, you're giving up more percentage in order to tap into a bigger market. It's a balance act. But I think I guess they're probably independent, small developer team, then, you probably want to go for an easier option. They probably didn't imagine that it would be so successful because pretty much Stitchers from the West, pretty much everybody's got a copy. They must have sold, God knows, tens of thousands, if not millions. And I'll definitely buy a copy if there's an iOS version. So, yes, but now they're so successful now. Maybe some time to think about it. I mean, they do. I remember asking them when I first looked into the app. I said, "Well, would you have a iOS version?" And obviously, they're being very polite and open about it. They go, "Yeah, it's it's coming along in development." I remember they said to me, "Oh, no way. Pattern Keeper is a one-woman show. She's a cross-stitcher with a family. No way, just one single person?" Well, I remember watching the tutorial videos from Pattern Keeper when I first started to learn how to use it. It was a lady's voice, and obviously she spoke like she was the developer, but I just imagine that she was probably one of the lead developers, and maybe there were others. But just one person. How talented is the lady? That's so wonderful. That's so wonderful. Yeah, you have to be a stitcher to create a good app, or at least, having someone you can tap into. So you fulfilled what the users need. I mean, it doesn't matter how good you are as a technical person. You always know if a product is designed by developers. By that I mean that they're not an end user. They don't have the design flair. But Pattern Keeper is actually very well done. She definitely has some design flair there because it's so friendly to look at. And she has a full-time job as well. So this is a side project. Absolutely amazing. And she has someone who does that for her. I wonder what you're referring to. Do you mean the marketing? Oh, wow. But there are different types of developers. Some just work really well on their own. Sometimes the bigger the team is, the slower things are because you have to, brief everybody. You have to make sure everybody's on the same page. Oh, okay. So the video demo wasn't her. Okay. It's just that the person spoke like, she knew the app really well. So I didn't think it was a kind of a presenter type person. I see. Okay, the demo. Yeah, I remember watching those like a crazy person. I was watching every step the person make with a video demo because I wanted to know every single feature that's on the app. But and I think Markup RXP, I think it's a gentleman. I'm just making assumption now because the videos very often was demonstrated by a male voice. So I'm just guessing the person might be the lead person at least. Well, I think, yeah, I think there's room for improvement for both. But I think particularly Markup RXP because the presentation of the chart isn't great. It's a little bit fuzzy because I think they treat the PDF as images. So it goes fuzzy when you zoom in, unless I'm missing something. Whereas Pattern Keeper is vector, you could tell. It's crystal clear. So I don't know why, you know, it's not the same quality. As far as I know, Markup is a man who developed and his wife is a stitcher, I believe. Okay, so he has someone around him that's a stitcher. Yeah, you need that feedback because otherwise, you know, because 101 for product development is who are you serving, isn't it? So, wow, you know everything, Karen. Why are you so knowledgeable? Why are you so knowledgeable? You know everything. It's like a Wikipedia of stitching. I'm so happy to be able to chat with you. I'm so starstruck. And I think when I got decided to go for a copy of Markup XP as well, I actually emailed the gentleman as well, and he was being very helpful because I asked him, when are you going to improve the parking method? And he said, oh, it's on the pipeline. It's on the pipeline. And that was maybe over 2 years ago. I can't remember. I don't know when, Karen, you made that demo, but when I watched it, it was at least a couple of years ago, right? And so I discovered the app, emailed the gentleman. He said, "Oh, we're looking into it," but yeah, well, no improvement so far. Okay, so I would have thought that was a quick fix for them. Just make it double tap, just the same way that you can do with Pattern Keeper. Shouldn't be hard. Karen says, Karen says, I've been around a long, long time. What? Stitching for over 50 years? No. No way. You don't look old enough to do that. No way. 50 years. Hang on. And when did you start making YouTube videos? Wow. That's a lot of experience. No wonder you know everything. I'm a baby stitcher, so I know nothing. I'm learning from you. It's fascinating though. And I have no idea how long Pattern Keeper has been around, maybe a few years. I only discovered it like a couple of years ago, so that's all I know. 3371. And I'm going to do a few more stitches and I'll wrap it up. So just in case you're not aware, I'm in London. This is London time here. And it's 3:41. I ask you. I know, I know. What am I like? So I teach yoga, so I don't have early classes tomorrow. So I kind of take advantage of that, and I'm a night owl. I really love evenings. So I have this overwhelming desire to stitch late at night. So that's what I've been doing. So Needlebark says, yeah, I started when I was 21 and I'll be, what? 74? July? Been making videos for about 10 years. Oh, mine. Oh, mine. Oh, no, you look way younger than that. I mean, 74 is really, really young as well. But, wow, amazing. So I did not mean to hijack. No, not at all. I'm so glad you're chatting with me. What a pleasure. I don't. So Needlebark says, I don't mean to hijack your stream, but it was a pleasure chatting with you. Same here, seriously. And I'm gonna find your channel, find your live stream, and I'm gonna hijack your chat. That's what I'm gonna be doing. It's a video bomb. I'm gonna be doing a chat bomb. All you see is me, and but it's lovely because sometimes I'm such a baby channel, and sometimes I have no one at all for the entire session. That's totally normal, expected. So it's such a beautiful surprise to have you here. I don't know how you found me, but thank you, algorithm, YouTube, sending Karen my way. So it's a pleasure talking to you and all of you watching, whoever you are. And so it's 3:43 in the UK. I'm not embarrassed at all. This relaxes me, and I'm sure I have a lovely sleep tonight. So let me just zoom out a little bit and do a little summary here. So let me show you my progress for this session. And how long have I been stitching? Here, just over 2 hours. Oh, Karen says, I shall shout you out when they will come. Definitely. Oh, what a beautiful lady Karen is. Thank you so much. And, it would be absolutely wonderful. And, whoever's watching my channel, they already know you already. So, and they would definitely enjoy your participation today. So let me just zoom out a little bit and show you my progression today. So again, let me bring out the full image here, the markup. What a beautiful piece. So today, my progression, let me show you my app. So I completed some half-finished blocks from previous stitching sessions. So I finished this block, the blue beautiful block here, and I'm very close to completion for this block, and I think I finished one other block that I didn't finish for the last session, so not bad at all. And general progression now, today 144. Okay, it's pretty good, to be honest with you. There's very confetti, and also I'm chatting. I'm having a lovely chat with Karen today. So, and my overall progression 3.93. So it's gonna get to 4 very soon. Another 3 hours of stitching, I'm sure. So that's my progress today. I'm very happy with that, and what a pleasure to have you here and Karen here. And I learned so much. So thank you, all of you that have been watching very kindly, and Karen, obviously. So good night to you, Karen, and good night to everyone. I'll see you and for another late night session, probably. So good night, everyone. Nighty night from London. Bye.